kids, welcome back to Roto Talk.
Hey kids, welcome back. Happy spring. It is finally here. We finally have good weather. We have water in the bucket, meaning the lake, and it's a beautiful day. I've been waiting for either the rain to stop or the wind to die down, and it's still... I told one of my buddies in the group today, the boat group, I said, I'm going to run today and do a video. And he's like, oh, awesome. And that was back when the wind was about 5 miles an hour. Now it's 30, but we're probably going to run anyway. But what this video is just going to be de-winterizing a boat, getting your juices flowing, doing all that. So what we do have coming up, remember our outboard that we built? I put him up there because he's so damn big. We still need to maiden and test that guy. And our Super Sport that we built last year, we need to maiden that and go through the setup videos on that. You can see that I've been sanding a lot in here. It's dusty. We're probably going to gut the mothership Thunderboat and take the guts and put it in the Red Baron and run the Red Baron. Maybe I'll sell this hull. The thing's been run twice. Einstein, obviously, we got our skiffs. Still got skiffs, and I sold a few boats this winter. It's nice. Thin the herd a little bit. So we have a lot of stuff to do. And then hopefully we're going to build a Rico cat, fiberglass cat, because there's no wood kits out that are new that I haven't done yet. So I'm not going to just do redundant things. We might go over the setup of the Thunderboat, of putting an engine in that, whatever. I built that Red Baron like, oh hell, I lived in Ohio when I built that, so what, 4 or 5 years ago. It's never been running water. It did have an engine in it originally. I ran it in the yard just to test everything. With a water hookup, and then parked it. I just never ran it because it's just a beautiful build. But I think, maybe this summer's the summer. We'll do some Red Baron running. But anyway, so a lot of people will recognize the old Lego cracker. This is a Zip Kits V-Box. One of my favorite crackers that I've run. I've got 3. We built this one on the channel last year. It's the one that says Goose Killer or something on the top. I ran it once or twice for the show, and that was it. So if anybody needs a built cracker hull, let me know. There's no engine in it, but all the hardware's there. And then I've got the Nintendo, which we did a build on. And you guys have all seen the Nintendo. So when I do a cracker, so this is going to be basically de-winterizing, doing the summer checks. We'll put a deck cam on there, and we'll go see if we can't keep this thing from flipping in the wind. When I build crackers, just for fun, because when we do a theme like this, the Lego boat, I usually do drivers. I don't race. I think the racing rules, they make you have scale drivers or something. If it's like a nice evening, or there's really no wind around, and maybe there's some little kids around, or something like that, I'll run them with the drivers on. It's fun. It's cool looking, but if there's a chance of them blowing over, doing full speed and this hitting the water, these aren't going to survive real well. I mean, I'll have to glue them back together and whatever. I don't want to mess with that. So every time I build a cracker, usually, hang on, I build a race hatch. Okay, this is built out of spare wood in the kit. There's plenty of spare wood when you buy one of these kits, and this is what I use for rough water, or if I'm really just going to be out there and be obnoxious like I usually am, I'll put one of these on. And that way it saves my drivers from drowning. So one of the first things I do every season, I always replace my fuel bag, because they always go to crap. I mean, they dry out, they get crispy, crusty, and you guys have probably seen my little belt buckles that I use for my gas bags. I 3D print. If anybody wants to print, just message me and let me know via email. I'm not the best about checking my messages on YouTube, so you get the idea. But anyway, always replace your bag. Well, the other thing that I do, hang on, is I check the hose, the fuel line, make sure it's not dried out and nasty. This one's not too bad. Before the end of the season, it's probably going to be south of cheese. The other thing that I do, and you should have winterized your engines, right? Haha. The other thing that I do is before I crank it over, and I will be electric starting this for the first go around, I'll squirt a little bit of WD-40 or any kind of oil in the cylinder, just a little bit. And then just do this. You can see this thing's pretty dirty. I'm not even going to clean it because I'm probably going to flip it anyway. And I just do that because after this thing sits and gets gummy and, you know, if any dust gets on it or whatever else, you don't want to stick an electric starter on there and be spinning it with a bunch of crap in the cylinder. That would be bad, right? So make sure your spark plug's good. If you want to replace it, fine. I mean, I don't. I replace spark plugs when they go to pot, which is pretty much never. And then give it snug. Next thing we're going to do, make sure just your general, everything's tight. Okay? Make sure your exhaust is tight. I'm famous for that, for the exhaust vibrating off the damn thing. Whatever else. And everything seems to be copacetic there. In this case, we have a single return rudder. What I do is I take the hose off. Ooh, that's good and loose. It's gonna be a fun ride. This has been pieced together. It's okay, it works. It's a cracker. It's not the space shuttle, right? So one thing I do is I take this off and I blow through the hose and make sure that you've got good continuity through your lines, right? So the water line in my case goes through the cylinder, then through the exhaust manifold, then out the side. And then also do the same thing, blow through the rudder. Make sure the rudder, you got 2 points there. Hang on a second. I got 2 kids and a wife running around here, so there's interruptions. So anyway, where was I? Make sure your water lines are clear. Make sure everything's good and tight. What else? Make sure you charge your radio batteries. Make sure everything's good. You know, common sense stuff here, kids. Nothing amazing. Obviously, pull your shaft and grease it. Now, the grease that I use depends on what I can get. This stuff's okay. Quicksilver marine grease with PTFE. This stuff's expensive, if I remember right, and it's grease. I've seen guys in forums just, oh, you have to use this grease, you have to use that grease is faster, blah, blah, bullshit. I'm sorry, it's grease. Unless you're putting some huge, like, thick viscosity they used in World War II type of crap on your boat, it ain't going to slow it down, because as soon as it warms up, and not even warm up, as soon as it spins about 3 times, it's going to dissipate. And it would be different if this was going in a gearbox and we were greasing it once every 3 weeks or something. You should be re-greasing your prop shaft every run, okay? So I buy marine grease, but sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Or not bad, but just get what you can get. There's interruptions. Anyway, get marine grease. I have it in little tubes, I have it in big tubes, whatever. Don't go crazy with it. The one thing I do go a little bit insane with...
Sell crazy someplace else. We're all stocked up here.
Insanity's relative, obviously, is my oil. I do run AMSOIL Sabre oil in my gas mix, okay? And I run around 8.5 ounces per gallon. Some people say, oh, it's more, oh, it's less. No, it's not. It will be perfectly, in any condition, it's a touch on the rich side, but nothing that's going to, if you're a sport runner, nothing is going to change anything. Better safe than sorry. And it's not so much where it's going to be blowing white smoke out, so don't worry about that. Another thing that I do sometimes is I will take my high-speed needle, which is always the one farthest from the engine, right? High speed. Refer to my old videos, other videos, how to tune and whatever else. And we'll be tuning engines on these maidens here. A lot of times I will back this out about the high speed about 5 degrees for the first time of a run in the springtime. Even though this has been tuned in pretty good last year, the reason that I do that, the temperature might be different, it might be a little bit cooler, and plus it's just going to give you a little bit less headaches. You know, it hasn't been run all year. You don't have to do that, but I do. Then obviously check your radio. So, I have 3. I was trying to remember which one I used, but it's this one. But I use Radio Link on everything. So, let's go over here. Alright, make sure you're getting full travel to high and cut. Okay? Make sure your fail-safe is working. That's absolute, guys. turn off your radio. That should go negative. Right there it is. Engine's dead. Back on. Perfect. Okay. Make sure your rudder and your throw, everything's working the way it should. Okay. Like I said, this boat's been, wow, what season is this? This might be the 3rd season for this boat. This thing's been through the it's been through the mill. I love this old boat though, and this might be the last year for it. She's looking a little hard, a little worn, put away wet and all that good stuff. All right, one of the few boats I own that I don't use my own radio box in, and the only reason I don't is because I had that one laying around. That's from Zip Kits. That's a TFL radio box. Great radio box. I don't love the screws. It's like put in 8,000 of these little thumb screws. It's just, I like my 3D printed radio boxes. And it's funny, this winter I had so many people still watching my stuff, which really kind of shocks me because I don't do anything in the winter. I don't post videos. But people emailing me at least once or twice a week saying, "Hey, can you send me the files, the 3D print files for your radio box?" And if I would have known it was that popular, I would have started charging. Nah, I'm just teasing. If you ever see anything 3D printed on this channel, just send me a message and I'll send you the file. I don't care. And I do print them for people, but I do charge for that. And it's usually cost of living fees. It's not exorbitant by any stretch if you don't have a printer, but I don't love doing that. So if you have a friend or something, I'll give you the files for free. All right, so if I build another Lego cracker, which I'm sure I will this year, I'll probably put my own box in because this is just tedious. I don't like doing this. But they look cool. I do keep one of these boxes in my drag cat just because it's an exposed radio box and it looks cool. Check it out. It's full of dust, but the drag cat, we keep one of those in there. Then we're going to pump her full of gas, fresh gas, ethanol free if you can. Now, back to the whole ethanol debate. It's kind of a crappy debate in the sense of if you're running your boats a lot, okay, like all the time, you can run ethanol in them, guys. Okay, ethanol is terrible for engines, terrible for seals, terrible for carburetors. It's just awful, awful shit. But in a car, it's okay as long as your car's not sitting, because we drive our cars every day. Okay, it's the stuff you don't use every day where ethanol kicks your butt. Now, in my case, I have a lot of boats. I don't run every day the same boat. It might be 3 weeks before I run this one again, or longer. So in that case, you have two options. You can run the gas out, or use ethanol free, which is sometimes called sport gas. Now, I live out in the middle of lake heaven. There's lakes, zillions of lakes around here. So you can get what they call sport gas or recreational fuel just about everywhere, which is ethanol free. I want to say 90 octane. Don't quote me on that. It's like $5.99 a gallon, but it's fine. I buy a gallon a week, or a gallon every month, or whatever it is I do. So it's not like I'm filling up a 30-gallon car or anything like to that nature. If you can get it, get it. And if not, what I usually do, because sometimes you might not be in that situation. If you have a fuel clamp on your carb, clamp it, fire up your engine, let it run out, done. It's not going to kill your engine to run it out of gas. That's also a myth. People are like, oh, never run a two-stroke dry.
Liar!
That's crap. The second this thing stops getting aeration, as soon as you go like this to kill your engine, it's dead. And it's the same principle as like when you kill your engine by going in reverse and throwing the butterfly. It kills it. It starves it from fuel. Go ahead and just clamp this off, and by the time the engine stalls, the carb's pretty much ethanol free. I'm not saying that's the best way to do it, but if you have no other options, and there is also a way to separate separate the ethanol from fuel using water. I'm not a big fan of that. That's just I mean, if you're retired and got nothing better to do, maybe. I don't know. It seems like a lot of work to me. But anyway, so yeah, another thing you can do if you want to get really kind of anal about it is, squirt some carb cleaner in there while you have this choked off, and then it'll it'll die out. Whatever, you know, don't take it to the bank. And even if you have to rebuild your carburetor, a rebuild kit for one of these carbs is like $7. I mean, let's not get stupid about it. All right, so pipe's good, all that's good. I'm going to grease the shaft. So 2 5/8 wrenches, right? Open end, box end wrenches. Put one on your collet, one here. Loosen that up, and then pull out the shaft. Now, this one's bone dry. Usually what I'll do is I will take a rag with alcohol, clean this, or acetone, whichever you prefer. Alcohol is always at the ready. I always keep denatured alcohol, as you guys know. If you're new to the channel, I always keep a spray bottle. I buy it by the gallon of denatured alcohol. I use it to clean my boats. I use it for everything. And then I'll wipe it off. I think I wiped this. Well, no, there's some there. So yeah, that's pretty dried out. So what I'll do usually is I'll take a latex glove. I buy them off Amazon by the box of 100 or whatever. And again, go to my, if you look on the below in the videos, there's a list of all my Amazon crap that I use. I'm not a partner or anything like that. I don't get any money off of it. It's just one of those things that's like, hey, most of the stuff that I use that's non-guts, I get off Amazon, like the batteries and crap like that. You can find these gloves. They're like $11 a box, and there's 100 gloves. I'll put one glove on, put some grease in my hand. You guys know how it works, right? Grease your prop. Now, or shaft, sorry. Hang on. Now, a lot of people ask me, how much stick out should you have? And like I've told you through all the builds I've ever done of my boats, your shaft stick out should be at least the diameter of your shaft. Does that make sense? So if you're running a 1/4 inch shaft, which we are, you should have a 1/4 inch between the drive dog and the bushing, okay? At least. If you have more, that's okay. Now, don't be stupid. You know, it'll run like that, but yeah, you know, you don't need to do it. Another third thing, I saw an email from a guy today, and I think he emailed me a few days ago, brother, so I apologize I didn't get back to you sooner. His drive bushing, there's a copper brass bushing in here that keeps rolling out on him, and he's like, hey, should I solder it or whatever else to the tube? It's really not a big deal, because usually that bushing is bigger than the distance you have here. It's pretty hard to solder it. So one thing, I have had that happen before. One thing that I've done is I've actually taken a flat blade screwdriver and jammed it, like literally just put like a crease, like a in there, almost like you've taken a punch and just marking it, and that way it doesn't come out. It kind of makes like a little edge on it, stuff like that. Or you can take a very, very, very fine piece of anything, like a little piece of Scotch tape, put it around that bushing, and then smack it back into that shaft, and it should be enough stiction to make it sit. So I'm going to grease the shaft up, put some gas in this thing. I'll turn the camera back on. We'll fire this thing up. It's probably going to smoke like I used to, and we'll see how it goes. So stay tuned. Be right back. All right, I'm going to give you guys a tech tip. Notice there's no gas in my bag. I'm sitting here pumping. Nothing's happening. Like, what the hell? Now, with these pumps, you have to have a vacuum, or at least positive pressure. So I tested this tube. It's fine. Tested the pump. It's fine. It's holding pressure. But then I'm like, man, why isn't it working? Check it out. See that? That's a problem. I'm guessing my soldering iron fell on that at some point. Yeah. There's troubleshooting 101 redneck. Don't do that. Be right back. Alright, so that cured the disease, fixing that. Now, one of the things that I do with my little buckles that I use in my bags, you can see I always put the buckle on the top of the boat here. The reason I do that is if you get an air bubble, it's always going to be up, not on where it's coming from gas. You know what I mean? From the intake. That's still way too much. So another thing that I do while I'm putting in fuel, I'll do that, and then I'll just back pump it. It's hard to do holding the camera and, here, dumbass. I made these buckles for a reason, so you can do that, okay? And then we just pull the air out. Now, this is called burping the bag. Or what you can do if you're down and you don't care about getting a little smelly, which I don't, because I already stink. Whew.
This ain't exactly a flower garden, is it?
is you can just literally unplug it and squirt the air out. You do not want to suck air into your carb. You will stall that engine every time. Bad day at the zoo. So like when you get I must be tired because I haven't really said anything smart ass today. So like when your engine's just randomly dying out in the middle of nowhere, you can't figure out why, chances are good you have a leak in your bag, or you've got a leak in a hose or something like that. So I can put a little bit more in there. I don't plan on running real long. I just want to run with you guys. That's good. Don't fill up your bag to the bursting point. Okay. Now with crackers, anything that has easy access, I usually just pull it right off the carb and fill it. I usually try to use these clamps. Clamp off my fuel line for my tank. And you guys in the group that are watching this, remind me to order fuel line because I'm almost out. From Joey Joe. Zip kits. That's where I get all my crap. Okay. You can see my real high-tech radio antenna thingy. Just a piece of cooling tube, and I drill a hole through the top. Not tough. One of the other debates we were having in the group, not a debate, but people ask questions, you know. And if you guys want to join our crew, we're on the live wire chat. Download the app. Look in the bottom of the description of this video. You can see how to get into that. It is a private thing. It's not a big, huge forum. There's only about 30 of us and about 10 of us that actually do stuff on it. It's fun. We talk about life, boats, and RC everything. RC cars. As a matter of fact, I got my RC gas car going. 34cc two-stroke the other day. Cleaned it up, got it all ready to rock, and never even ran the damn thing. It's like, just been really busy. So one of the debates was, hey Jay, should we use a pulley for starting, or should we use a pull start? And I said on race boats like gas riggers, hydros, thunders, I run straight pulley. I do nothing else. Okay, and that's a rear pulley in most cases, not all. It doesn't matter. You can see on this one we got a front pulley, which is basically, actually this is technically the front of the engine, by the way. This is the back, but I always call this the front. This is what we call collet pulley. Now on my fun boats, crackers, skiffs, usually catamarans, what else is over there? You know, whatever. Even the Super Sport in some cases. I will do both. I'll put a pull and I'll put a collet. And the reason I do that is because, yes, the collet starter is awesome, but if the engine's already warmed up, I like to just refuel and pull it and go. You know what I'm saying? Like, say we do a couple laps, come back in, needs gas, I shoot gas in it, it's still warmed up, I just pull it like boom, and it fires right up. It's easier than lining everything up and getting your starter out and doing all that crap. Do whatever you want, I guess. But for cold starts, especially first year starts, or the reason I also like to have this on there is if you flip and you intake water into your head, you need to get that out. And I've done videos on how to get that out. I'll probably do another one. Might even be today if we flip. And you take the plug out and you can zoom, just zip that sucker out. Okay, and when I say starter, I mean one of those. Okay, so usually when I do a warm-up start, because what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a simple fire this thing up. I'm going to get the engine warmed up here, and I'm just going to walk the boat down. I'm only bringing the radio in the boat. I'm not bringing tools. I'm not bringing the trailer. I'm not bringing anything. I'm just going to run a little bit. We're going to slap a deck cam on there. And actually, I'll do that. We'll put a deck cam on, and I'm just going to pull the rope and throw it in the lake. It is still pretty windy. Let me show you. It's hard to see. It doesn't look that bad, but this is a very small body of water. So if you've got waves that are even that big, it's windy. Out at my mom's on the big lake over there, half a mile away, you're going to see much larger. It's real windy out there. But that's okay. So make sure our fuel's on. I'm going to put this right there. Okay. I leave my radio off and make sure I'm in the idle position. Okay? I just leave the radio off for the hell of it. if you can turn it on. You don't have to do it this way. It's just how I do it. Yeah, we'll turn it on. Hell with it. Okay. And put it somewhere where it's not going to get chopped up by the prop. Done that before. So what you can do is you can stick your finger. Now, the guys asked me, I know this is a long video, but I haven't done one in a while. The guys asked me, do I run velocity stacks? On these I do. On crackers, most of the time I do. Not because it makes that much of a difference, just because if I do have water slosh around here, it does kind of help a little keep it out of the carb. And if you want to choke the carb, it's nice. You can just stick your finger in there like that. Stick your finger in the dike, soak it in cider, you know, one of those things, to choke it up, which I will do right now, so watch. Ooh. Okay, nice. Got that fire right up. Now, with a cold engine like this, don't be so quick to adjust the idle. You heard how that was running really hot, like really fast, right? Cold engine, don't even bother. Once this thing gets warmed up, you shouldn't be adjusting anything on a model engine until everything's warmed up. I'm not even going to adjust needle settings today, honestly. I just want to get out there, have a little bit of fun. Unfortunately, my cousins put in the ski buoys on Sunday. They used my rescue boat to do it. I'm an enabler. So now, but the jump's not in yet, thankfully. So I still have to avoid the buoys, which you'll see in the deck cam. But I'm just going to go out there and have a little fun. I'm doing this just to get my juices flowing. I didn't want to do a maiden today because I haven't run since like August, because our water dropped so far I couldn't even get the rescue boat in. Rescue boat meaning my rowboat, okay? And I didn't want to fool around with a model rescue boat. It's just a pain in the butt. You know, for my body of water and what I do, I can hop in my rowboat faster than I can use our RC rescue boat. So anyway, I don't plan on doing any tuning. I might trim it out a little bit, whatever else. On this particular boat, I do use body pins, like an RC car. So you can see they were roughly hacked in. It was kind of an afterthought, but it worked. That's it. Piece of cake. So, deck cam. How do you do your deck cam, JJ? Well, let's see. I tried to make it not sink. Where's the tape? Be right back. Oh, there it is. Nope. I'm still here. And then we need a knife. See, smart people prepare for shit. I'm not one of those. So now what I'll do, I 3D print a little buoy. Now, the trick to using a 3D printed buoy is very little infill for you guys that are 3D printing guys, all right? This is 5%, so it's mostly air inside. Now, it's enough to keep this camera floating in case it does come off, but it's not going to. So what I do with this, the camera's already waterproof. My razor blade sucks. I can put a little one on that buoy because it just helps. Smoking hot wife interruption. Man, I haven't done a video in a while. I'm rusty. So, these are GoPro, what is this, a Hero 2. These are waterproof anyway, so they don't need a case, and they stopped making them, which is really sad. But it's also good because you can buy them used, and both of the ones I use, the one you're seeing this video through is one, and then I stick one on the boat. And, yeah, see if we can kill some geese today. So, I put a little bit of double-sided tape on there, a little bit on there, and we're going to stick this one on the left side. A lot of times I stick it in the front. Whatever. Alright, we're just going to stick it right. Try to get it straight just so it looks cool. But having two pieces there this stuff is insane tape. Super insane tape. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. It's on that Amazon list. I've used this in the videos before as a double-sided clear tape that like you can stick your kids to the ceiling. Shit's awesome. So, next step, we're going to throw on the hat cam, which is the same camera. We're going to go down to the water and try not to flip. We'll see what happens. Meet you down there. Right. As with anything, rescue boat, it's slow but it's ugly. Always make sure, you know, if it's windy, when you're running a cracker especially, or pretty much cracker or hydroplane, make sure you make note which way the wind's coming from. In this case, going east. So big lake's right there, my mom's lake, and that way is north, that way is south. So I can go full speed going that way. I better not go in that way. Okay, so we're gonna turn on the deck cam. We're gonna make sure everything's working first. Been a while. Okay, right is right, left is left. That's always a good thing. Turn on the deck cam. That one's going. Here we go. Here we go. So this way, we don't want to go too fast. Pretty windy. Doesn't look like it, but it is. Now remember, I also richened this up a little bit, so it's not running in perfect tune. I'm going like a quarter speed. Just getting used to it, and obviously turning left isn't smart. As always, make sure you've got water coming out. I'm trying not to destroy any buoys that they just put in. But man, the wind's pretty... definitely running rich. And that idle can come down. Now it's nice and warmed up. I can see it. Feels good to drive again, man. It's been a long time. Oh! Oh! And that's what happens. Now that buoy that I just hit didn't get hurt because that's a hard plastic buoy. So now we got to go get it. That might be the end because I didn't bring my electric starter down here. I didn't bring a wrench down here, and the engine's probably got water in it. So we'll probably bring it back up. That's pretty cool though. It's on film. So that buoy right there, you see these two that keep going down the middle of the lake, right? Those are where the boat goes when they're skiing, all right? So that buoy that I hit is a super hard plastic. It actually might have damaged the boat. I doubt it. That looked like a pretty graceful hit. I haven't driven in a while. Hard to get used to, so I'm going to turn off my radio, go get the boatie, and we'll even put on the deck cam in there. Be right back. All right, so one thing that's difficult is you guys have probably seen RC boat races like my buddy JJ in Florida does. And they're always up high, like real high compared to the water. That's exactly why. When you've got a, if we don't hit the ground, oh, I just did. Can't drive any boat today. So when you've got buoys that are parallel, like what I'm doing here, very hard to judge. Now, after you've done it half the season, I'm pretty good. I very rarely hit them. But in this case, I don't cut out my mistakes. You guys know me. So, she's ugly, but she's slow. See, that's the buoy I hit. It's those are very hard. They're not full of air, like rubber. Hopefully we didn't hurt Nintendo. I seriously doubt we did. Oh! But, Nintendo. Sorry, Lego. Now, what you should do if you're doing a rowboat like this, turn off your radio. Oh, got water coming out of the pipe. Turn off our deck cam. Yeah, didn't hurt it. All right. One of the things that you deck cam might not have even worked. Now it's not turning off. Anyhow, So this thing's going to be jammed full of water. Ain't no way we're starting this again unless I wrench this off, manually pull it, which I could do, but yeah, it's okay. Kind of late in the day. I don't want to, you know, people are eating dinner or whatever. Try to do this shit during the day. Other than that, looks okay. So anyway, that was it. Our maiden for the year, and that is exactly how it usually does go. But if you're going to use a rowboat like I'm using, if you're that fortunate, pad the sides. That way when you drag your boat up, it doesn't fuck everything up. But yeah, so normally what I would do, if I was doing this by hand, I'd pull this plug. I'd hold the boat upside down in one arm and pull a lot with this and get all the water out, exhaust the water out. But we're going to take it up to the shop, and I'm just going to blow it out with the starter. And I will show you that because that's an important step. So we'll be right back. I'm pretty sure my deck cam is fried. It was on its way out last year, honestly. That's okay. It served me well, and I got it cheap off eBay. So, the one thing you want to do, notice there's a touch of moisture in here, and that's in the radio box. Not a big deal. It's not like soaked. You can see there's humidity. I just pull that out. It'll be fine. And then I'll drain the boat best I can, and then just let it sit out in the sun all day, or until I go to bed. So to get the water out, it's very crucial that after you flood one of these things, you start it. Okay? I'm going to make it so it's not on pause anymore. We're going to adjust that idle a little bit. Oop. Just from experience, I kind of know. Right about there is going to be fine. Okay, I'm going to turn off the boat. Good. Now, next thing you want to do, pull the plug. We can leave that on. Alright. Now, I'm going to show you what happens. This is why you cover it up. When I fire this up, it's going to shoot water out there like crazy. So, how can I show you guys this? Let's try this. Yes, takes a lot more than that, but that gets out the majority of the big stuff. Then what I do, take a rag, put it over the cylinder, nothing fancy. Try not to touch that plug while you do this, you get a little lit up. And then not want to do that with the plug in, because it you can get a hydrolock and blow your crankshaft if you got water in there. Dry off your plug. Now here's what I do. I put the plug in about 3 turns or so and run until it starts. That's enough to relieve any pressure, but enough to make it start. Okay, there we go. Now, nice and dry. The engine inside is great. Now what you should probably do is put it in an angle. Make sure there's nothing left in the pipe. We're going to tighten that back down. Now in theory, we should be able to just pull start it, and it should fire right up. Now, I still notice water coming out of the pipe a little bit, so we want that out. Okay, just like that, no big deal. And if there's still any water left in there, it'll get stuck in the bell. It won't go back. So now I'm gonna take a stand, put it outside in the sun, probably on the back of my truck, and just let this thing dry out until bedtime. That's it. Quick little run. Once I get used to buoys again, I won't drive so terrible. Couldn't go full speed. Engine wasn't dialed in. Windy as hell. It's a good day. So, till next time, kids, keep dry side up.
Relax, don't do it.